let everybody finish up their last emails. I know everybody's trying to catch up. But thank you so much for joining me today for my session here at TechCon 2025. Welcome to Dallas, kind of. Welcome to Frisco, Texas. I'm really excited to be here. And, you know, when they told me I'd get the opportunity to, of course, when I got the opportunity to come to Dallas, I couldn't decide exactly what I wanted to talk about at first. The first thing I thought of is the Dallas defense. Sorry, guys. I thought I'd come here and talk about the Cowboys defense. It's really rotten this year. Dak's having an MVP year, and they just won't play any defense for him. But I didn't want to go too deep. It might get too personal. So I started thinking about when I visited Dallas. And I love Facebook and Facebook memories. Does anybody use that where it pops up and tells you what happened 10 years ago today and stuff? It's like my favorite part of Facebook. And while I was trying to figure out what to talk about in these sessions, I got a really great thing that popped up for me. And that was GM School in March of 2015 here in Dallas. Getting a little bit about myself, I started out in the club business in Augusta, Georgia, moved on to Aiken, South Carolina, and then ended up in Atlanta where I ran a couple of nice private clubs, the last of which being Atlanta National Golf Club, PV and Pete Dye Design. It was a real honor to be able to manage that club. And about 4 months into me being the general manager, a little known company called Club Corp out of Dallas bought our course, about 40 others all at the same time from Joe Guerra, those of you that are in the business. And they took control of our club. And so it was a great learning experience. And what they did was they took about 25, 30 of us here to Dallas in March, and we had what we call GM School. And they wanted to teach us the Club Corp way. I was a 35-year-old general manager. There was an ice storm. If anybody from Dallas remembers, in March of 2015, it was heck trying to get here. But we got here, and I'll just say I did not have the best attitude in the world. I was ready to get back to Atlanta and manage my club. But that was my mistake, because I got to work with some really great people that week from Club Corp, many of which are here at this conference, many of which are running their own management companies now. But at that time, there was a wealth of talent there. And I learned so much about hospitality during that week. And it was a really great experience. And I took those lessons back to my golf club in Atlanta and implemented them. But that always made a big impression on me. So, you know, when I thought about what to talk about today, I'm going to talk about GPS, but I'm going to talk about it from a little bit of a different angle. I'm going to talk about it from the sense of what I learned that week in Dallas with Club Corp. And the key word for them is always hospitality and member recognition, member engagement, communication, all those things that you hear buzzwords in the industry. Do something wrong. It's okay. I don't think I have the pressure against one person else. I'm good with it. We're going to work through this, no problem. So they're talking about hospitality, and it's fantastic. So what I've been trying to do is figure out how we get the hospitality back in GPS. And like I tell people, the technology, most technology we have now, we find out what it can do. Now we need to figure out how to use it and adapt it to help us accomplish our goals as a club. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of GPS. And that is, the first generation came out. It was great. You know, you guys remember these screens. They had the yards, the hole, you know, they had the layout, they had the hazards marked and things like that. It was really great for the player. It was actually really great for hospitality. It was a great benefit for the player. And then we kept developing GPS. And the second generation started to locate your cars on property. It started to monitor pace of play. So now we could record how long it took people to play and hold them accountable for how long they were on the golf course. So a little less hospitality, a little bit more control. And then lastly, the third generation, we learned to stop and slow down cars in sensitive areas. Again, another great innovation in GPS. My product, Yamatrack, I work for Yamaha Golf Car. My product, Yamatrack, slows down and stops cars in dangerous sensitive zones. But again, not really the most hospitable thing to do to our customers, and sometimes infuriates them. And I see some people nodding. You've had that experience in the past. I always tell our customers, you live by the store, you die by the store. So shutting down cars is a great thing, but I think there's a lot of other things we can do. And we can send messages to the player. You send back directly to the player, Mr. Johnson, I found your 9-iron on the 9th green. We'll keep it in the pro shop till the end of your round. Please play a little bit faster or let the group behind you play through, sort of thing. So again, not so hospitable. And this last part came around, and it was the advertising part. And it's one of the parts that I think people have not put enough emphasis on with the GPS. We get excited about slowing them down. We get excited about telling them that they're too slow on pace of play. But this advertising part is a great way to communicate and create that hospitality inside your GPS system. And so what we do is we have zones that you set up around your course. I'm sure you're all familiar. You're all technology people. And these zones around the golf course, as the player drives through them, a JPEG image is going to pop up on the screen. And I know that sounds very simple, but I'm going to show you some ways to implement this at your golf courses so that you can bring the hospitality back into the golf game, especially when they're out there on the course. So I went to New York City with my wife and kids this summer, and being the stubborn person I am, they went on a tour. They gave them a tour around the museum, and I said, I don't do tours. I'm going to do this by myself. You guys go ahead. Well, I couldn't find the paintings I wanted to see, and I didn't understand what this was over here. And before I knew it, after 20 minutes, I joined the tour. And it was a really great experience. I've got to stop being so stubborn, but it was a really great experience. And it made me think of when we send people out on the golf course for that first tee. And we just kind of send them into the wilderness. They may come back at the 9th hole. They may not come back to the 18th, but they're gone. They're away from the mothership. And so what we can do with the advertising module is we can start to tell your story on the golf course. Now, we don't want to annoy golfers while they're out there with constant ads flashing and things like that. But guys, I've been to your clubhouses. All right, you got big flat screen TVs communicating with people all throughout your clubhouse. Why are we not communicating with them on the golf course? So I tell people, guide the experience. Tell your story. Each one of your golf courses has a wonderful story and a wonderful history that if you tap into can make it a very memorable experience for players out there. So number one, and again, I'll show you what our screen looks like down here, the Yamaha screen. It's right there in the cup holder. We worked with Toyota when we built it. They taught us that driver's eyes are trained to go down to the right a little bit. We don't like to put it up top, do that thing where you look up. So we like where it's placed right here in the cup holder. But imagine you're driving around Nelson, not too far down the road. And while you're there, this pops up on your screen. You drive to a random place. Age 20, in 2010, at age 60, the youngest person to ever play the Bar and Dustin tournament. And from this spot in the fairway, he made an eagle on that first round. What a cool history to dive into. What a cool thing for people to see when they go out there and they start going, then maybe I can get an eagle too. All right. Next, highlight the golf course. Your golf course has a great history. I had the opportunity to drive around Atlanta National when PB died after his dad died. And it was a fantastic experience. And PB ran us through the entire course, taught us all, hey, we use little 10-pin nails here to put the sod in on these bunkers and things like that. Such a cool history. And I wish that our members and our golfers would have got to take that ride with PB like I got to take it. But you can get it to them. So right here, hey, this is where we got the railroad ties from to make up the 14th hole. What a cool thing to be able to tell them the story of your golf course. And what that does, and I go back to club court, is it makes a connection. And the next time they're trying to decide where they're going to go play golf, they remember this because their dad worked in that rail yard when they were a kid. It tells your story. It plugs people in. You're not just put into the wilderness. My next is I like to play 9 holes on Sundays. My kids are getting older, so I'm able to get out a little bit. And since I'm such a trophy husband, my wife loves to come with me. Now, she doesn't play golf. So we're driving around one day. She loves birds and flowers and butterflies and all that stuff. Frankly, I'm a little embarrassed to tell you, I'm starting to get into birds and butterflies and flowers too. Starting to get to that age, I think. But she told me, she said, wouldn't it be great if the club put together a little book and taught you all about the nature and wildlife and plants you're seeing around the golf course? I mean, my goodness, how much money do we put into this stuff? And we don't even highlight it. How many times have you gone with bird feeders and things like that all over the golf course, and we never really highlight what's in those bird feeders? I'm not saying that every golf course player out there is going to get excited about knowing that the American goldfinch can be spotted out there. But now you give another opportunity to tell your story on the golf course and what's out there. And my wife's happy, and that's the most important thing ever.
Not exactly the birdie people are thinking.
No, not exactly the birdie people that it's the birdie she's thinking about. And so I like plant life. Again, you got plants around your golf course, native plants. You've done a ton of money. You've spent so much money putting that stuff out there. Highlight what they're seeing out there. Like I said, not everybody's going to love it. You got it shooting pars, probably not going to pay attention to the cardinal flower on the fourth hole. But I can tell you what, when my wife comes and plays with me, it's sure going to keep her plugged in. It's going to get her excited when we get that bill from the club, and she knows that there's something in it for her too. So next, food, beverage, and everything else. When I worked at Club Corp, they were really great. They wanted to get past the beverage cart model of serving food on the golf course. And that was fine. I mean, that's what I grew up with. You had peanut butter crackers, a half a tuna sandwich, a couple of soda options and things like that. And I realized, and like our bistro product that we have in Yamaha, things have gotten more robust since then, but still, how are people on the golf course going to feel plugged into your clubhouse when sometimes they are acres away from your clubhouse? And what we've got in our system now is a food and beverage module that can bring the clubhouse in. And so number one, I know it's small, but we have food. So players can go in, order from our full clubhouse menu. They don't have to order from an abbreviated menu. Full clubhouse menu. They can go in there, pick the chicken salad sandwich, pick the French dip, pick the chicken tenders, and get it delivered to them on the course, or pick it up at the turn. And so now we've gone from peanut butter crackers to all of a sudden a BLT, a chicken salad sandwich, and patio. Next, beverages. You get your beverage card attendant to put a couple bottles of vodka in there and a couple of mixers, and they can make a few drinks. But what if you could order any drink from the bar and have it ready for you at the turn, have it delivered to you on the course? Our modules will let you go through and pick those things. It's going to send it directly to the clubhouse, and they're going to get an order queue and know exactly what car and what member is ordering that. And with our system, you can also see where they're at on the golf course. And I've got to give it up to the guys on the GMS panel that they really teed me up for this because they talked a lot about this. QR codes are great. If you already have a system that works for you, throw your QR code in 4 times during the round. Bang, they hit it with their phone, they can order straight from there. Or they can order through our system. Now, I like to get creative as a former operator, so I thought, what more than food and beverage can we do in this module? I said, hey, why not golf items? I know that you're not going to sell 20 umbrellas on a rainy day, but you might sell 3. They could have your rain jacket waiting at the turn. They could have a box of Pro V1s waiting for you because you ran out on the 8th hole. So thinking creatively about how people can order from you, I think it rises all boats. And just like the GMS guy said, the more plug-in we can get, the more food and beverage we can get, the more money to the pro shop that we can get. That's a great thing for everybody. So our module is really great. And this is how it looks on the back end. Is Joe Smith and his member number, tells you what car he's in. We received that order. Once I put it into my POS system, I move it over to active orders. And at that point, you click order delivered and it's gone. You can run reports. You can see how much food and beverages you sold. It's a fantastic way to run your food and beverage operation. Very similar to the way that Grubhub and DoorDash do their systems at restaurants. So next, Club Corp taught me to personalize the experience. Too often we let players go out there and we don't personalize the experience. And honestly, that's what keeps us coming back, whether we realize it or not. So a couple of ways that I would personalize the experience of my golf course is I have tournament results. Everybody loves to see their picture winning something. And what a great conversation starter. That somebody comes in, sees Dan Johnson's name, sees Dan Johnson's picture, and then sees him in the clubhouse. He goes, Dan, I don't know you, but I wanted to introduce myself. Man, I saw you won the member guest last year. That's pretty cool. Now we're connecting our people. This is where the heart of hospitality is connecting our members so that you're not out on an island. You're not out in the wilderness when you're on the golf course. You're still a part of what's going on in the clubhouse. So put your award winners up there. Next, member accomplishments. Somebody makes a hole in one. Throw their picture up on that hole for the next 3 days. Hey, they made a hole in one. Imagine how good she feels when somebody comes up to her in the clubhouse and says, hey, I saw you made a hole in one. That's great. Way to go. You get a 7 iron? I usually hit a 6 from there. What a great way to connect people with accomplishments, because usually after you buy the round of drinks for a hole in one, everybody forgets you did. So what a neat way to highlight members and what they do out there on the golf course. Next, member recognition. And I was hoping Jay would be here so I could embarrass him, but they've done something special they've never done before. Last Saturday, on October 12th, Jay Garrett shot an 89. It's the first time he's ever broken 90 in his life. Now, when I see Jay at the bar, I'm like, Jay, good job. Those lessons are working. Way to go. Broke 90, buddy. What a great way to connect our members. What a great way to get that information across to other members. Birthdays and anniversaries. Believe it or not, even the crankiest of cranky person likes to be told happy birthday. They like to be told happy anniversary. What are you doing at the club today? I know it's your anniversary. I just saw it on the GPS screen. But what a great way to connect people again. And, I keep going back to club corporate. It's certainly not, absolutely specific to them. There's lots of other groups that do this. But when we start connecting people and making relationships, that helps customer retention. That helps customer engagement. All the things that we're trying to get done at our clubs. And last, communicate. And that's always been my motto, no matter what position I've been in, and that is over-communicate the things you do. A lot of times we create these events in a vacuum. We put up a flyer, and we say, hope they sign up. But with the GPS screen, I can put it right in front of their face while they're waiting to hit their next shot. And so, what does that mean? Let's promote our after-play venues. I can't tell you how many times I've been to a club where somebody's like, oh, did you go to Grenadines? What was that? Oh, it's back behind the clubhouse over to the right. They had a great martini. I didn't even know it was there. So you go out, get your ball in the right rough, third hole, and this pops up. Having a rough day on the course, need a drink? Mixed Grill has $3 Guinness pints all day on Thursdays. So what a great way to promote people to be in your venues after play. Next, social media photo opportunities. Every single one of you have a place on your course that is your spot. It may be by the clock on the putting green. It may be your 17th hole, which is your island par 3. Wherever the best place is for folks to take a picture, believe it or not, they want to take it to social media. And guess what? Get them to put a hashtag on. Now all of a sudden, I'm starting to get advertising for free. So all of these things, and I'll tell you, I'm a cheap guy, and that's probably why I was a pretty good operator. They're free. When you have this GPS system, it's up to you to utilize this, and you can get free advertising. Next, promote golf club events. You're trying to get more people to the Thanksgiving buffet. You're trying to get more people to the pickleball tournament. Throw it right up in front of them 2 times around. They scan that QR code. They sign up right there. Now they don't have to go bother Andrea, your club secretary up there. Well, she went to the bathroom, so that's why I didn't sign up for it. And, oh, she wasn't there. Doesn't matter. You can do it straight from your golf cart. Next, reinforce club rules. Members are very forgetful. And sometimes we tell them the rules and they forget that. And so a lot of times they just need to be slightly reminded of what the expectations are on the golf course. So whether it's replacing divots, fixing ball marks, this hole is cart path only, We have renovations in progress. What a great way to communicate what you're doing for the player and for the club besides just inconveniencing them in the moment. Hey, this is what we're doing. We think it's going to be done in March. Please be careful. Car path will move this fall. What a great way to get that across to your players. And then we can go on from there. I can honestly go on for an hour about this, but you can promote anything you're trying to do in your club. So I love this one. I had a guy named Ricky. This was a while ago, back down in Jacksonville. He was a pro, and Ricky called me. I'm a redneck, so I can call Ricky a redneck. He was a redneck, and Ricky called me and said, "Hey man, what can I do with this advertising thing?" I said, "Anything you want." He said, "All right." So I looked on the site, and Ricky had put his face to pop up every time you hit it in the right row, the first 5 holes. And it would have Ricky's face, it would pop up and it said, "Slice again, Ricky gives lessons." And had his phone number down the bottom. Ricky called me up 3 months later and said, "Man, I gave more lessons last month than I gave in the last 4. Just advertise yourself, tell them what's available. Get new members. I always tell people that, I got private clubs, and if you can get 5 more potential members to my membership director's door per month, this GPS thing pays for itself. So when I would have Monday outings, I would put one of these on here, and hey, did you like your round today? Give our membership director, Gil, a call. He'd love to talk to you about membership options. When you start pushing that button, all of a sudden you start seeing everything pay for itself. And last, believe it or not, sometimes we do like to sell real estate. Sometimes it's the only reason we build a golf course in the first place. But what a great way for a player, come to the other side, to drive through this area. And as they're driving, bing, this comes up. Hey, guess what? There's a lot available right here. Would you like to live here? If I can sell one lot, I can probably pay for about 3-4 years of GPS. So again, it's nothing fancy. And I'm sorry, you guys came to my session, and I'm not talking about lasers and all this crazy stuff. I mean, some of these guys have got such great technology, but I really do think it's important to figure out how to harness this technology and use it to make our clubs have more hospitality to our players when they leave our clubhouse. And I think it's very, very, very powerful. So I encourage all of you, just like me, to think outside the box. We start looking at your GPS system. Don't just think about shutting people down. Don't just think about scrutinizing their pace of play. Those things are important. My superintendent likes to, have harass. But at the same time, how do we use this to make it a special, unique time on the golf course, and also make sure that we're connecting our people, informing them, and communicating? So thank you very much for joining me today. If you got any questions, you can come up and talk to me afterwards. Thank you very much. Any questions? Oh, I know I was getting GPS system for me.